Well, it's now good afternoon. How's everyone doing so far? How about we do a little something that I typically do when I get the team together. We get some long meetings. How about everybody stands up and shakes it out a little bit? A little stretch. The good news is it's not really warm. Whenever you're comfortable and feel like you're alert, I'm going to go quickly, but hopefully share a couple of little nuggets about our program that you might take with you. I'm going to transition a little bit from what Mick talked about and how we philosophically approach the game of football offensively. And then what I believe is a lost art in football, and that's the art of tackling. As Coach Hank alluded to so eloquently there with two of the worst athletes ever to play the game of football, Tim McGargle and Chris Patty. Just by doing it in a small demonstration, let alone in front of 100,000 people, just how difficult it is to tackle. So I appreciate those guys doing that. Coach Hank, I didn't know you still had your helmet and your shoulder pads, but they look like they're in pretty darn good shape. So first and foremost, to Jeff and everyone at TCYFL, we want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I want to thank everyone for coming out and hopefully improving and getting better as a person. That's what football and that's what coaching is all about. You're influencing people, and hopefully you feel like you get better today as a person so that you can go back and influence those that are underneath your guidance through the great game of football. How many of you coach for a living? That's all you do? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only my guys over there in the corner. And that's kind of my point here initially is you have a calling. For some reason, at some point in your life, you decided to get involved by influencing young people. And through the great game of football, we're all here today. And if you think about that power of influence that you have, I'll rewind back to when I started the game of football in the 2nd grade. I'm originally from a town called Orland Park, a southwest suburb. I played for the Orland Park Pioneers, and I was that kid in the 2nd grade that couldn't sit still, that was bouncing around all day long, daydreaming, writing little football plays on my homework that was supposed to be turned in on time. And my teachers and the administration in the Orland Park School District told my mom that I needed to do something with my time a little bit more constructively so that I focus a little better in school. Now I think they call it ADHD and things of that nature, so I wasn't diagnosed with any of that stuff. I just had it, and I still have it. And so my mom started me playing football. Now I'm a father of 3, and I'm trying to convince my wife with a kindergartner who's 85 pounds that it's okay to start playing football. But my biggest issue is not necessarily whether or not he's going to be good enough to play or if he'll like to play. Frankly, it's the coaching. I want to know whether or not he's going to be put in a safe environment. I want to know whether or not he's going to be taught the game the right way, not necessarily always about the scheme and the plays, but how to play the game of football and what it can teach you about life. And more importantly, how we can keep them safe. So hopefully through that tackling technique that Hank talked to you about, you can go back, and that's really the thing that paranoids me the most, is just the tackling technique and that full speed collision that happens at the point of attack. And last year in college football, we had a really difficult lesson learned on the kickoff play for the young man at Rutgers. And so hopefully you take a little bit out of that. Before I forget, I'd like to invite everybody out to come watch us play. We have tickets that are available not only for high school student athletes that are recruits, but also for you as grade school coaches and or high school coaches or administrators. And bring your players up. I know we have some Salute to Midwest football games, but come up as much as you possibly can. I think the more you kind of drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, of football, the more you get addicted to it. And I think it's the coolest drug in the world. So hopefully your athletes will also. So Jeff, thank you so much again for having us, and we appreciate it. We appreciate the partnership. I'm going to go over just a few points and talk philosophically who we are, and maybe give you an overview kind of our values and what we believe in here, what we teach our young people off the field. So first I'm going to kind of talk to you about who we are, what we believe in, and what our vision is as a staff. Second of all, I'm going to talk about our academic success and what we firmly believe in here at Northwestern that we believe separates ourselves not only from those in our peer institutions in the Big Ten, but no disrespect to that school out in Palo Alto, but to everybody else that believes in the academic mission through athletics. And then I'm going to wrap up and talk about our values and really what we teach our players on a daily basis. For those of you that don't know me, I did play here at Northwestern in the mid-90s. We had a pretty good run. We were 15-1 in the Big Ten over those 2 years and went back-to-back Big Ten titles. And I think what's more important than anything else that I learned here as a student athlete under Gary Barnett's leadership was, number one, that I needed to develop. I needed to improve, I needed to get better. And that was in all aspects of my life. And so frankly, who we are, what we believe in as a staff, we have a simple vision and a simple direction. We want to be the best developmental staff that there is in the country. It's a simple statement, but a very complicated equation to get to the solution and to get to the bottom line on how you positively influence 17 to 23-year-old young men. You have to rewind back now to when you guys were that age, and to the women in this room, you know what I'm talking about. When you were 17 years old, your priorities are completely and totally different from what they are right now. And really what you thought about back then are typically the women that are in this room. All you thought about were girls. And that was your number one priority. In some way, shape, or form, somebody had to influence you to understand that's important. But what's really important here is how you develop as a young man. And how we think you need to do it first and foremost is academically. And so we don't take this for granted, but we get the opportunity to coach, like I said, develop the best and the brightest that college football has to offer. And how I know that is through the empirical data that I'm able to share with you. 2010, we had 60 players above a 3.0 and a team GPA above a 3.0. Now, they don't have a national stat there because I don't think the NCAA wants everybody to turn in their team GPA after every semester. We have no problem sharing this with anyone that wants to listen. To have 85 guys on scholarship, 105 on the roster, to have 60 of them above a 3.0, I think is something spectacular we're proud of. Last year, I didn't do it. I don't know why you just clapped. I wish our players were here for you to clap for them. But we had 32 guys who were academic All-Big Ten. So how do you become an academic All-Big Ten player? Number one, you're a significant contributor on the field. Number two, you have a GPA above a 3.0, obviously. And then it keeps going up and up as you want to become an academic All-District and academic All-American. So we had 32 guys who were named academic All-Big Ten. That's number one in the conference and tops of anybody in the country. And we had the number one graduation rate in the country at 100%. And so when you think about that, it's not just lip service here when we talk about what we believe in academically, but more importantly, empirically, what we're trying to talk to our guys. It's about being a student athlete. And I learned back when I was at Carl Sandburg High School, when I was a sophomore, from my father. I took this class called geometry. I think we've all taken it before. I just didn't quite get it. I really struggled with it. I could play pool pretty well, but I didn't understand geometry. And so with that being said, in my first grade that came in, my sophomore year in the fall, the geometry was a D. And I went home and I turned in my progress report to my parents. And back then you actually had to show it to your parents. Now we got all these crazy laws that your parents don't know your grades and all that. So I showed my parents my grades, and the next thing that happened was I was told I was not playing football anymore. Well, for a guy who's a sophomore, you know, like 15, 16 years old, as you can imagine, devastation set in pretty quickly because I thought my identity was as a football player. That's who I was. That's what I was all about. I was a football player. And now my father and my mother took football away from me because I got a D in this geometry class. It was a real quick understanding and appreciation for what I was really doing with football. It was a privilege to play. All right? It wasn't a right, it was a privilege. And so to look at those things that we've accomplished, we're proud of. And we followed them up last year with 54 players above a 3.0. And we had a team record GPA of a 3.02. And now we've gone 7 straight quarters with 50 players above. And what I'm saying this all for is, all of you did not one person outside of my staff raise your hand saying that you're a professional coach. That's all you do. You get compensated to just be a coach. You do it out of the goodness of your heart because it's a calling. And I would say this right now. Outside of my mom and dad, those who influenced me more than anybody else were my coaches. And I'll go back to when I started when I was in the 2nd grade in the Pioneers. There were a couple of coaches that almost forced me to quit the game because they didn't teach me and coach me the right way. They didn't take on and embody the PCA and coach me up. They were trying to tear me down. But then I got to about the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and I had some coaches that it took me a little while because I was doing pretty well in school all the way to that geometry class. But the first thing they asked me when I went to that 6 o'clock practice was, "Hey Fitz, how's school going? Your grades going well?" Everything. So I was hearing it revolving in my life. My mom and dad were on me. I went to football practice with coaches who were on me, and then I had the great privilege to play the game of football. So I would stress to you that you have no idea the power of influence that you have, and I know you do because you love it, and it's your calling, and it's your passion. But don't lose sight of that. And Coach Walker, who's, you know, down looking at us right now, a great mentor and a great friend, he used to say, keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing for all of us in life is being the best people we can be. And when it comes to the game of football, hopefully we stress to our young people that it's a privilege to take care of your academics first. If you do that, you're going to be successful long after you get done playing the game. Long after that. And for us, we talk about a lot of things, and I'm going to go over our values and what's important to us. And as you can see, I'm a John Wooden this cycle. Back when I was an 8th grader, I wrote a book report on John Wooden. And you know what's crazy today? The guys that I coach have no idea who John Wooden is. They know he passed away recently because there was some news about him, but they have no idea who he is. I don't know about you, but I think he's the best coach ever lived. What a great role model for all of us. So when we studied back in 2008, we had a decent season. We won 6 football games. The biggest thing holding us back was us. I had not created and set a clear set of values that we needed to live our life on, and live our football life on, and who we were going to be as people. So we got together with our leadership council, and I don't have enough time to talk through all that, but we created, we studied through Coach Wood, a set of values kind of through the structure of his pyramid of success. And I'm sure a lot of you have read that and seen that. But we wanted to make it our own. We wanted to have ownership of it. We wanted to have what we believed here in our program. And what I want to go through quickly here, because I know my time is limited, is through our 10 values. And then kind of what the questions we ask, frankly, in recruiting, as we're looking at student athletes to see exactly who they are and what they're all about. And so I want to go over, first and foremost, the cornerstone of our program, and that's attitude. And when you think back to when you woke up this morning and you saw the sunshine, and I don't know what you had to do yesterday for work, the first thing you chose was your attitude. It's a God-given talent from a standpoint that no one else controls it. And it's an ultimate talent that we all have. And when you think about the attitude that you choose, you could have the worst day of your life professionally. But the minute you walk on the field as a coach, your kids are going to look at your attitude because either you're going to coach them up, or you're going to sit there and be a sour face, and you're going to be a negative person, and you're going to tear them down. It's that simple. And you know what? Those kids you coach, they don't care. They really don't care if you just got promoted to a CEO or you just got fired. You're the one that chose to be a coach. You're the one that chooses to go out there on the field and put a whistle around your neck. You're the one that chooses to be an administrator and run a youth football program. So those kids really don't care whether or not it's a good day or a great day. They just expect that you're having a great day. And so that's a challenge each and every one of us when it comes to influencing kids. And so when I look at the kids that we want to coach, I want to make sure that that's what they have inside of them. So number one for us, when we're looking at prospective student athletes, do they love all aspects of the game of football? Yeah, kids like getting their name called. We've got these websites now that tell them how good they are by putting stars after their names. I think that's the biggest joke and the biggest farce in society. I was a negative star player. I ended up being a 2-time All-American, okay? So I don't believe in any of that garbage. And so you parents that have kids that are in high school and you subscribe to those websites, shame on you. You're wasting your money. Donate it to charity. You can spend and use it in a lot better ways. Because it comes down to love and passion. And if they don't love our game, it's going to get really, really tough, like life is going to get. And so if you don't like practice, you're not going to be very good. They all love games, but at the end of the day, do they love the hard parts of games? And then it goes down to film study. For us at our level, it's the weight room. You see, we play 12 games in the regular season to get an opportunity for a 13th. Let me put this in perspective. A game lasts 3 hours. You're in the arena in Big Ten, BCS college football for 36 hours of the year. For the opportunity for 39 hours at a Big Ten championship game, for 42 hours to play in a bowl game. That's less than 48 hours, so let's round it up though, just to keep it simple in the math. Again, I struggled in geometry. 48 hours is the amount of time that our kids are actually in the arena, which equates to 2 days. 2 days. Multiply that by 4 years. Not the smartest guy again. They're actually in the stadium for 8 days of their experience in college.